Hey guys, wow. Josh Taylor is undisputed at 140 pounds. And you know what? I had a massive rant about how this went under the radar, and this is why. First of all, what a fight, what a performance, and all props to Jose Ramirez as well because he played his part as well. Very, very tough fighter, very skilled. And look, I mean, Josh Taylor, a deserving winner in my eyes. If anyone that does follow the channel already, you would have seen that actually I was planning to do a live stream. Now, for some reason, they changed the timings from what I know because they were originally going to do it at 4 o'clock in the morning UK time, but I think they moved it back to 2:30. So I woke up ready to do it, and I was like, "What? It's over!" And then they were going to the scorecards, and I was thinking to myself, "I cannot." I was so annoyed. Seriously, I was so upset. I was like, "What the heck?" Like I just missed this. Then I watched the replay straight after. Just yeah, disappointing. What can you do? Eh? That's the problem. The time differences, but what a fight, anyways. What a fight. It would have been great to do the live stream and get everyone involved and on board as well, but I'm sure there'll be lots of big fights to come. But this was, I mean, look, we talked about Canelo Billy Joe being the fight of the year so far in terms of the significance and importance. I mean, this could potentially trump it. I know Canelo is the man in the sport at the moment, but the fact that we've just had an undisputed fight, I think, is fantastic. Two guys coming into unbeaten, two belts each. Really, really impressive performances from both, but especially Josh Taylor. Sorry, even, and he just continues to impress. I mean, a lot of people saying he's in their now pound for pound top five. I think before people were saying he was maybe in their top 10, around like 9 or 10. Now people are saying actually no, he should be top five. People are saying he's top in Britain pound for pound. So above your Furies, your Joshuas, your I guess not anymore, but you would have been talking about Josh Warrington as well. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about, and I mean, the scorecards and the officiating and the refereeing and the commentary we're going to get onto because there was some very, let's say, interesting bits and bobs going on around the fight as well and during. But first of all, props to Josh Taylor, the Tartan Tornado. Unbelievable. Seriously, in 18 fights to become undisputed champion is absolutely unreal. And now I really hope Top Rank puts some respect on his name because they put Ramirez's name first, and look, you might think, okay, well, he's been with them longer and they've got two belts each, so okay. But the thing is that he just won the Muhammad Ali Trophy. His resume is better. He just beat Regis Prograis, who at the time some people said was actually a better fighter than Jose Ramirez. And on top of that, he had the Ring Magazine belt, which signifies being the best in your division. So you'd expect him to have been first on the poster. But either way, that's just the way it was. I mean, he was clearly the away fighter. Everyone in the crowd, even though it wasn't a unbelievably huge crowd, they were all cheering for Jose Ramirez. There was a very, very minute contingent cheering for the Scottish Tartan Tornado. That is Josh Taylor. But I mean, just going into the fight, both of them look really up for it. I think Chris Algieri was extremely impressed by how strong Jose Ramirez looked, and he alluded to that throughout the whole fight. Even after he'd been knocked down a couple of times, he was like, his conditioning must be amazing. He's so physically good. Oh man, like, well, what a guy to come back, what a fight. And I'm just like, relax, like, chill, because he made it come across as if he was bullying Josh Taylor, and it wasn't that at all. And he actually is slightly shorter, and so that's maybe why he was saying that he was holding his own in there. That's fine, but it didn't come across that way. And Chris Algieri is normally pretty good, but he seemed to have a little bit of an agenda going into this. He definitely wanted Jose Ramirez to win, I think. Christina Poncha is normally pretty good, but she was actually a little bit better, I thought. Again, I mean, they were pretty pro Jose Ramirez, I would say, but that happens, I think, unfortunately, going into this. There's a little bit of bias. I mean, I'm assuming she's interviewed him quite a few times as well, maybe knows him quite well. Josh Taylor is pretty new to Top Rank. and you on ESPN. So yeah, I don't know, but either way, it was a little bit like, come on, guys, it's a bit cringe. Anyways, going into the fight, I mean, Ramirez just looked very good early doors, I thought. Well, in that first round anyway, and I'll tell you how I scored it because a lot of people were saying it was unbelievable how they gave it so close. Some people, like Costello and Bunce on BBC 5 Live, were saying that they actually agreed with the judging. And before the judges' scorecards had even come out, they had said they thought it was 114, 112. So 6 rounds apiece. But then because of the 2 knockdowns, you take 2 points or knock 2 points off of Jose Ramirez, and that gives you the 114, 112 scorecard, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I had it slightly different. I had it 7-5 to Taylor, which gives you, now, I hope I do my maths correctly here, but it's 115, 113. Then you knock 2 points off. Again, I'm just following the same methodology here that I've seen others do. Then that gives you 115, 111, which is obviously wider, right? It's 2 points wider than what the scores were. Now, again, that's pretty respectable. That's not super wide. I thought it was pretty much what it was, but there was a swing round in there for me, which was at round 4, which I did give to Taylor, but I could have given it to Jose Ramirez as well, which then would have given me that 114, 112 scorecard that they came up with. So for me, it wasn't an unbelievable thing. I know Josh Taylor, after he came out and said, "Look, I can't believe they gave those scores," and I thought I was cruising it, kind of thing, and I think he won, but I thought he won a close affair, not a super tight affair. Like if they should have given it a draw, it could have gone either way. I didn't see it that way. I saw it as a Josh Taylor win, but a Josh Taylor win by a couple of rounds, 2-3 rounds, and you're sorted, right? That's kind of what I was looking at it as. And yeah, so 7-5, I had it. And yeah, the 2 knockdowns in round 6, round 7, which unbelievable shot. Seriously, and that turned the tide of the fight because look, the judges had it a draw otherwise. So it's really important he got those two. And that was super impressive, I thought, by Josh Taylor. I mean, yeah, we'll go on to that in a little bit. But for me, it kind of definitely it was a fight of peaks and troughs. And I think I said this in my preview video beforehand that I thought it would be quite close. I actually said it would be Taylor on by split decision, mainly because I thought there might be some dodgy officiating, which again, I didn't think it was super dodgy. I didn't think it was. I thought it was okay, actually, to be honest with you. But in terms of the judging, anyway, I mean, the refereeing, which was Kenny Bayless, and he's been a pretty good referee for quite a few years, but he was pretty poor, I thought. And I'll get on to him in a little bit. But in terms of the fight itself, I mean, as I said, it definitely did peak and trough. I mean, Ramirez, for me, was 3-2 up going into that 6th round. And as I said, in that, there's a swing round. So potentially some people might have had him 4-1 up. They could have either had him 3-2 up or 4-1 up. That's how I saw it. Ramirez took the first round for me, came out. He was slightly busier, I thought, than Josh Taylor. And look, I mean, Josh Taylor, we know how slick he can be. Southpaw was trying to kind of pump the jab out, but we know he can also fight on the inside, and he has the dog in him, as we saw against Regis Prograis. Ramirez, I think, for me, is definitely hands up, come forward, pressure fighter. He can box as well, of course, and we saw that in spurts, decent jabs, and also the body work from him was, I think, the standout from him. For Josh Taylor, it was the check left hooks, the just checked hooks in general. Counter punching was super impressive, and the uppercuts, I think, throughout. That to me was really good. He also had a variation of the left hand, which sometimes it was a 1-2, but almost not really a straightish right left hand. Sorry, sometimes it would be, but normally it's slightly curved and going around the glove, almost between a backhand and a hook, I guess. So again, like really impressive stuff from the Scot, and yeah, that was really good. And going into that 6th round, which really the two pivotal rounds, round 6 and round 7, I had Ramirez 3-2 up, and it's funny because I look at it and I gave the first round to Ramirez, second round to Taylor, third to Ramirez. 4th was a swing one, but I gave it to Taylor, and then 5th to Ramirez. So I was kind of, as I said, it was ebbing and flowing, right? It definitely was. In my eyes, anyway, until that point. Now, the 6th round is definitely Taylor's, and it's because of this knockdown. And it was just beautiful. It was a counter punch, and it was just on the button, just on the chin. I couldn't have hit him any sweeter, and it was a counter left hook, and it was just, oh mate, beautiful. Caught him reaching in, made him miss, and then bang, and you're just thinking, and it was a flash knockdown. It wasn't one that was, you know what? Oh, he's been rocked to his boots. Can he get up? It was, look, he's caught him, off balance and slipping. Now, Jose Ramirez has been dropped twice before in his career, so nothing new to him, to be fair. So he's gone on to win those fights. So he's obviously still in the fight, gets up, and to be fair, gave a pretty good account of himself in that round 6. He didn't look super hurt. He seemed to recover pretty quickly. But round 7 now, that is a different story because he got absolutely rocked by this uppercut, and it was absolute beauty from Josh Taylor. Unbelievable. Whoa. I mean, so they're in a clinch and they weren't told to break. So I think there was a little bit of dispute around whether it was or wasn't. The commentators were saying, but Kenny Bayless actually didn't get involved in that at that time, which was for once. Anyway, so they were in the clinch, and Josh Taylor just caught Ramirez sleeping, not covering up, and bang, the uppercut just goes up, and it's an absolute cracker of a shot. Ramirez's head almost falls off his neck. It's just ridiculous. It's one of those shots that you see that iconic as someone from Britain. Everyone knows that iconic AJ uppercut against Klitschko. It was that kind of thing, and he looks like he's a giraffe basically. I mean, that's what I can imagine Jose Ramirez looking at in that scene. It was just unbelievable. It was so sweet, caught him so well, and again, Ramirez just did not see the punch coming, and he just flew back onto his back, right, and he tries to get up, and the first time, and he can't. His legs are still not there, so then he kind of slumps up back down a little bit, gathers himself. Now, Kenny Bayless here. Now, the first count was slow. It was. Now, again, I think a lot of people have been saying it's poor and he gave too long, etc. But the one thing I will say, and obviously someone mentioned this, I think it was actually Mike Costello, and this is a pretty fair point to make. If beforehand he had said, look, I'm going to do XYZ, which is, look, I'm going to give you guys every chance, which means, when you guys get knocked down, I will look towards the judges, and then I will start counting once you guys are able to get up, or blah blah blah, etc. etc. As long as it's the same for both fighters, and he said it beforehand in the changing room, fine. But Josh Taylor seemed to think after that the count was too long, which then leads me to believe that Kenny Bayless did not follow the protocol that he'd outlined beforehand. Because I remember against Fury and Wilder, when obviously Fury got decked in that 12th round and then he got up, everyone was saying it was a long count. But what it was is actually Kenny Bayless told him, he said, look, show me something. So I want you to, was it jog from one end of the ring to the other, I think it was. And Fury did that, and that showed him that, okay, yeah, actually he's okay. Now, it looked like he was doing something similar with Jose Ramirez, but if he hadn't outlined it beforehand, that's pretty poor. And then he also told Josh Taylor to get back as well. And I'm just thinking, what are you doing? Like, he shaved a good 20 seconds out of that round, and then you've got 7 seconds left, and Taylor just is not able to get the stoppage in such a short amount of time. And Ramirez's legs are absolutely everywhere. Oh my gosh, his legs are gone by that point. Now, from there on, I mean, 8 I gave to Taylor, and 9 actually gave to Ramirez, 10 to Taylor, 11 to Ramirez, and then Taylor closed the show on 12. 11 was a very, very strong round for Ramirez. I thought he came back. Some really heavy shots, 1, 2, especially the right hand, jabbed quite well as well. And to be fair, his body work pretty much throughout the whole fight was pretty impressive, I thought. So that was good. But yeah, 7-5, I had it. Taylor just looks to improve every single fight. I mean, his head movement was definitely much improved, I thought. Definitely, you could see he'd been working on that with Ben. A little bit of the Billy Joe-esque, movement about him as well. A bit more slick between the ropes. Off the ropes even. The check left hooks and check right hooks. Oh, the check hooks off the ropes, unbelievable. Also, he actually had a couple of really good body shots himself, but the counter punching was really impressive, I thought. Which is a la his his kind of role model or idol in Manny Pacquiao. So obviously that's something that he loves to do. But he's an all rounder, is what he is. He's a boxer puncher. I think Ramirez, to be fair, is probably a bit of a boxer puncher, but I'd call him a pressure fighter, which I guess then puts him in the category of fighter rather than boxer. But I do think he can do both. He did show that. And I don't think it's the end for him at all because he's actually a couple of years younger than Josh Taylor as well. So, yeah, I mean, really impressive performance from both going. And the fact that this wasn't shown on Sky or BT is criminal because this was a cracker of a fight. I mean, was it the fight so far of the year? I mean, Chocolatito Estrada was damn good as well. But in terms of significance, I think you could say it probably is, isn't it? And when did Teofimo fight Lomachenko? Oh, I'm having a mind blank. But yeah, anyway, either way, it was just a flipping good fight. I mean, unbelievable. And talking of Teofimo Lopez, I mean, what do you guys think is next for Josh Taylor? I mean, what's he going to do, right? So it was last year, sorry, in October. So yeah, this is, I would say, arguably the biggest fight in terms of magnitude, definitely. And in terms of definitely up there in terms of fight of the year, I think it's in the top 3 for sure. It'll be a candidate, I would assume, anyway. In terms of what's next for Josh Taylor, he's got, I would say, probably 3 options in terms of what's next in his immediate future. And I'm assuming he'll have a homecoming, which means he will then go to Scotland, maybe at the Hydra, and fight Jack Catterall, which is a mandatory for the WBO. Or he could just say, you know what, forget it, can't be bothered, and actually just drop all the belts, move up to 147, and then fight a so-called warm-up fight, right? I don't think he'd go straight into a Crawford fight or a Spence fight or something like that. You know what I mean? He won't go into those big names straight away because it's a new division. You'll need one fight at least. Or he can wait and see what happens with Teofimo and George Kambosos Jr. And if Teofimo comes out of that, Teofimo might move up. And if he moves up, then he might say, well, hold on, because Teofimo's got the WBO. So that means he becomes automatic mandatory to Josh Taylor, and Josh Taylor might love that. And that means you've got the undisputed 135 king against the undisputed 140 king. And that would be a hell of a fight. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, he's got loads of options. Javante Davis as well. He's fighting at 140 against Barrios for the regular title. Don't get me started on the regular title, but he has so many options. But look, don't want to talk about that too much in this video, just because I think it's very easy for us to say, "Oh, Crawford's going to smoke him," or Josh Taylor will beat this guy, or Teofimo is too good for him, blah blah. But let's give credit where credit is due. Josh Taylor is a phenomenal fighter. He is a pound for pound fighter. He is an absolute beast. Now, please do not forget how good this guy is, and don't let it go under the radar. Let's put respect where respect is due. I heard also people talking about obviously him in his prime versus a prime Amir Khan, who obviously was in his prime at 140 and was the best 140 pounder around at that time, beat Maidana, Zabjuda, to name a few. Now, I'll probably do a separate video on that potentially because I think that is a really good debate. I might even do a live on it because I heard it's actually on Boxing Talk with Ade. Or sorry, well now he changed his channel to Ade Odelipo, but one of his subscribers mentioned it, and I was watching it, and I thought that's a really, really good question and something quite interesting to discuss. So I thought that was a really, really interesting question. But I think it's a really tough one to answer straight away. But look, Josh Taylor is a star in the making. He really is. And you know what? Props to Spencer Fearon because there's a toe-to-toe clip and he put it on his Instagram where he says, I think he's going to win the World Boxing Super Series and become I think he said he'll become a superstar. Or he'll become, basically just incredible fighter. No, sorry, he'll become one of the greats, is what he said. And Josh Taylor, to be honest with you, has cemented his place as one of Britain's best ever fighters now. 100%. 100%. In only 18 fights. He's now alongside Ken Buchanan as the second Scotsman to become undisputed, and also the sixth person in the full belt era to become undisputed after. Now let's see if I can do it off the top of my head. Bernard Hopkins, Jermaine Taylor, Alexander Usyk, Teofimo Lopez, and I'm missing one, aren't I? Damn, I'm missing one. Terence Crawford. There you go. Got it. Terence Crawford. Yeah, of course. 140 pounder. At 140 pounds as well. Yeah, so he's the sixth person to do it. Now, Teofimo Lopez, some people might say no because Devin Haney's got the WBC, but I think the WBC franchise is probably the bigger title or whatever his status. So I'll put him in that bracket. Wow. Josh Taylor is over the moon for everyone from Scotland. Congratulations to all you guys, for everyone in the UK as well. Look, we finally beat an American, hey? We finally beat an American. All these Brits going over to America getting absolutely spanked. Look at what happened. BJ Saunders, Callum Smith, who else? Rocky Fielding. Who else? Anthony Joshua to Andy Ruiz. Man, that was a big shock. I mean, that was one of the worst ones, to be honest with you. Who else? I mean, it was just like lambs to slaughter, really. We just kept on chucking people out there, and they just kept on getting absolutely smashed. It was just crazy. Luke Campbell. Oh, man, Ryan Garcia. I actually picked Luke Campbell to win that one as well. Yeah. Anyways, we finally got one, though. But unbelievable. The guy is phenomenal, is Josh Taylor, and he really deserves plaudits. And I can't wait to see what's next for him now. Whether it stay at 140 pounds or go up to 147, he has a really bright future ahead of him and some extremely good matchups. And to be honest with you, anyone that says that it wouldn't be competitive between him and Crawford, I think you're wrong. Crawford is definitely a favourite going into that fight, but Josh Taylor, one, he can box, two, he can bang, three, he can pretty much do everything. He's pretty much like a 7 or 8 in everything. Never been dropped. The dude is very, very impressive. Cool. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please do remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and also, click the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much.